Welcome to What Self-Care Looks Like. I'm your host, Brittany Elliott. It may be hard to hear, but self-care is not spa days, a weekend getaway, or brunch with your bestie. True self-care is the practice of protecting your well-being and happiness, and it lives within your daily routine. I'm a self-care and mom life coach here to help you prioritize your needs and practice self-care in a meaningful way so you can reclaim joy in your motherhood experience. Let's get back to you. Hey, welcome back to What Self-Care Looks Like. I am Brittany Elliott. I am your self-care and mom life coach here to help you prioritize your needs and practice self-care in a meaningful way so that you can reclaim joy in your motherhood experience. And we are in week 6 of the New Year series, which means we are starting off the 6th week of the year. Thank you for starting this year out with me and really being intentional. If you've been listening to me for a while, I appreciate you so much. And if you are new to the show, welcome. We are going to be talking about intellectual wellness for this episode, and this is going to round out the wellness points. And then next week, we'll be talking about next steps in the actual goal setting part. So it's been a buildup of some weeks to get to our goal setting part, but I really do think it's important to take the time to gain some clarity and really wrap your mind around what it is you want and what it is that you really want to focus on or need to focus on, especially when it comes to aligning the vision that you have for your life with your actual goals. And I said this in maybe a couple episodes back about sometimes we will hear someone's goals or something that someone else is working on and we'll think, oh, that's such a great idea. I should be doing that. So let me try to pursue that as well. But you just may not be in the right season for that. It may not be your time. There may be some other things foundationally that you need to build, maybe some behaviors that you have to change in order to be able to pursue those things. And taking these steps to reflect and truly analyze how you want your life to look moving forward. Reflect on what went well, what didn't work for you last year. And even if you're not going a whole year back, maybe you're looking back just back one quarter and then looking ahead one quarter. It's very important to create these bite-sized pieces of your life that make it easy for you to navigate, not chasing other people's goals or expectations. So if you haven't downloaded the companion guide to the series, visit backtune5.com/mom. Within the guide, I linked a quiz that will help you determine which of your wellness pillars needs a boost. So let's get into intellectual wellness. Intellectual wellness is recognizing your creative abilities and finding ways to expand knowledge and skills. It's the ability to be open to new ideas, critical thinking, and learning new skills that can be shared with others and used for the betterment of our community. If you have a love of learning, but you cut yourself off from learning because you are pouring into your children, it can feel very isolating. You can begin to feel just unfulfilled in your motherhood experience just from creating this wall between you learning more or pouring more into your intellectual wellness. And I think we all go through that at different points of our motherhood journey. And I know at one point I certainly felt in a way diminished by my motherhood role because I used to have a lot more balanced conversations with people prior to becoming a mother. I would, even with family or friends, I would run into someone and they would ask me how I was doing, maybe what I was working on, what I was pursuing, what my goals were, and there'd be more, I don't know, like higher level or deeper, more intentional conversations that happened before I became a mother. And then as soon as my daughter was born, everything was just about how much is she sleeping? How many diapers is she going through? Um, and it just felt like all the value that I had in the world was 100% tied to her. And that wouldn't have been a big deal on its own if I saw the same thing happening to my husband. But it felt to me that he was still able to have these dynamic conversations with people, even though he had just become a parent, but I wasn't able to have that. And for me, good or bad, when you're someone who was really like pursuing career and pursuing this certain type of life, and you, like, how can I even say this? I felt that people were really excited to know what things were going on in my life. And I felt that there was a bit of a uniqueness about me, and I really liked having those conversations and being able to create relationships and build relationships off of my view of life, or my thought process, or where I'd worked, or what type of activities I was involved in, or where my next trip was, whatever that may be. And then it was just completely like I was just the vessel to nurture and raise this new being. And I felt very insecure in my role as a new mother because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So I went from being very confident in who I was and just being very open to conversations and meeting new people, because I felt like, oh, I can talk about anything, put me in a room with anybody. Like, if I know about it, I'll talk about it, and I can just get along with a whole group of people. And then I became a mother, and it was just like no one saw me anymore. And that was hard. That was really, really hard to deal with. Now, I don't care. That's not really anything for me. I've settled into motherhood in a way where people do ask a lot about what's going on with my daughter, and I'm happy to talk about. And I also go to places where no one ever brings her up. And so there's definitely more of a balance back in life. But when you're a new mom, your child is very young, there is a lot of focus on them, which makes sense. You know, they want to know how much does she weigh, and how much is she sleeping? Is she eating? Are you sleeping? Things like that. But it was just a very, very odd transition, because it just was instant. And again, I didn't see that happening with my husband. So it did really enhance my loss of self. And I think that we don't take the time to heal from that sometimes, and to realize that that's what's happening, because we already are feeling this loss of identity. And I call mine, what I had, just a shattered sense of self. And it's not just, oh, there's this child and I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but it's also everyone else. Like, you are someone else to everyone else as well. You're a mom, and that means something bigger. And last season I had and it was either last season or season 14, there's an episode about the trifecta of motherhood, that it's a relationship, a role, and a responsibility. And I was really struggling under the weight of the role and all the external things that came with the role, and some of the responsibility of motherhood. So for you, you may have been struggling with the role of motherhood, and how people saw you and how people started to treat you differently. And I'm not saying that they are wrong, that anybody is wrong for treating you differently. I am just validating your feelings of, a child comes into this world, you become a mother, and you are just completely kind of cut off from yourself. And it happens very quickly, and it sends us kind of off balance. So it wasn't just about other people recognizing my intellectual wellness. It was mostly about me recognizing my own need for it. So in 2022, I believe, I started taking a beginner tap dance class for adults, and it was really fun. And I performed in 2 recitals. I don't take the classes now because my daughter is much busier with her schedule, and she's in the fall and spring she does soccer, and now she does basketball and she dances, and so there's just not enough time for me to do that, which I'm completely okay with. But one cool thing that came from that is I'm able to sub in her tap class when her teacher needs extra support or can't be there for tap. I'm able to fill in, and my daughter really enjoys when I'm able to go in and teach her tap class, and then she and I are able to practice her tap dances together, which is nice. So it's created this nice little connection for us outside of that. So me really focusing on my intellectual wellness and getting back to myself through that avenue helped me create another way to connect with my daughter. So it really helped me build my relationship with her as well. And we do a lot of just dancing and hanging out and singing together, which is really fun. And I danced other types of dance basically most of my life on and off. So I think just dancing and performing is, fun for me. And I enjoy that she enjoys it as well. And I love that it deepened my connection with her. Even through that, I also um, started reading again and changed the types of just media that I would consume because I just had this desire to learn more. So I started listening to different types of podcasts and really focusing more on personal development, personal growth. I started reading more books about motherhood and what happens to the brain when you become a mother. In that time, I started a business. So, through starting a business, I've learned how to do so many things, learned how to market, learned how to run ads, learned how to create a website, like just about all of my, to start a podcast, just about every part of my business I have done just me learning. There have been occasionally where I've maybe outsourced some things, but mostly it was just me learning from someone, hey, how do I do this better? So I've learned just so much just in having a business over the past few years, and all that came from my pursuit of fulfilling this intellectual wellness need. So here are a few intellectual wellness activities for your self-care routine. So, read a thought provoking book. I'm a huge fan of self improvement and mindset books, as I mentioned. They give you a new perspective, and you'll learn practical skills and practices to apply in your life. If you do not have the Libby app, Libby, it's a free app where you can use your library card. If you don't have one, you can just get a digital one, go to your library website and get one. And you can reserve audio and digital books without having to go in the library into the library, which I love to go into the library, but I don't always have time. So I'm able to check out books on my phone, and then I listen to them during my commute. And right now I'm actually listening to um, Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck. And I read it last year. Well, I listened to it last year, bought the book. So I actually have the book, and then I'm listening to it again. That's my opening the year with reading that because I just think it's such a good book. But I get all my books on that app now, and not everybody knows about it. And I just like to share it when I can. So if you don't have the app, download it, use it. Learn a new skill. So maybe you've always wanted to crochet or learn to make jewelry. It's time to pursue that. I recently bought, well, it's not even recent now. It's been some months. I bought a gel nail polish kit so I can do my nails at home. And of course, right now my nails aren't even done. But I like to just sit there and paint my nails. And there was a bit of a learning curve at the beginning, but now I just do my nails myself. And then over Christmas, my husband got me a little kit to soak off my nail polish. Like, it's a better way to soak off your gel nail polish. So it's a whole thing. And then I'll paint my daughter's nails, but it's just something that I like to do. I've always really liked to have my nails done. After the pandemic, I really didn't get comfortable with going back into the nail salon. And also, it just was so much of a time suck. It's just something that I like to do, occasionally when I'm in the mood. Like, just paint my nails and just do something a little nice, a little pampering for me or whatever. So think about something like that for you. My mom, she is so cute and sweet and great. She, after she retired, started making candles. And so I was looking around to see if I had one of hers handy. And oh, yeah, I have one here. It's a little lavender one that she made. But she makes these really nice candles, and she's like, oh, I'm going to put flowers in it. And she'll go to the Goodwill and get like a teapot and put some candle wax in it and make it a candle. She does all these cute and fun things. So she has a little workshop in what used to be my bedroom. It's her little candle making shop, which is very, very sweet. So just little things like that you can get into that will really impact your intellectual wellness. It doesn't even have to be that big. You could also do simple things like play a game, like do a puzzle or play a game like Scrabble with your family. This requires some critical thinking and skills and um, a bit of patience. It's a very simple activity, but it can be done, in a group, or it's things that you can do with others. Like if you do Sudoku or a word search, those things are, what's the word, guys? They are promoting creativity and helping to impact your intellectual wellness. Full disclosure, I am recording this episode after a full work day. I usually don't do that. I usually record in the mornings on the weekend, but the opportunity presented itself that I was just here solo on a what was that in there the whole time? On just a random weekday, so my brain gets a little fried. And the last activity is to take a cooking class. So, a cooking class is a great way to expand your knowledge, make connections with other people, and to be creative. I've done cooking classes in person and virtually, which is really cool if you sign up for one. Some places will send you all the ingredients that you need, or they'll give you a list ahead of time, and you just kind of get on like a Zoom and everybody cooks together, which is kind of fun and cool. So I've cooked things that I'd never thought of before. Normally I just make the same things over and over because they're quick and easy. But again, it doesn't have to be that anything grand. You can simply just return to an old skill, just return to something that you used to love. If you used to be a swimmer or a dancer like I was, if you used to do like jujitsu or martial arts, if you used to play an instrument or write poetry or paint, did you love to run? Like those different things that tap into your creativity. If you're looking for a supportive village of like-minded women to go through motherhood with, Reconnect is the membership for you. It's not just coaching and workshops, it's community. It's your roadmap to a life where your needs matter, your well-being thrives, and your joy is front and center. Whether you're just starting to explore self-care or you're ready for deeper support, there's a membership level to meet your needs. Visit back2in5.com to get started. Intellectual wellness is recognizing your creative abilities and finding ways to expand your knowledge and skills. Oh, and another fun thing that you can do is to take a tour of your city. So, might sound kind of odd, but even if you've lived where you've lived for ever, I bet you have never seen the place that you lived from the perspective of a tourist. So you may be like, because I know a lot of people who will come and visit Pittsburgh, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love Pittsburgh. It's so great. And then I'm just like, yeah, it's cool. But then I took a tour. I forget where I even took a tour, but it was like a guided by a tour guide. And I learned all these cool things about the city that I had not known. And it helped me see the city in a different light and have a different appreciation for it. So it's just something nice and fun that you can do. And then you can ask questions, maybe learn something that you really didn't know about your city. And it could help you do that as well. So let's get into the prompts on page 10 of your companion guide. If you haven't downloaded it yet, again, you can just grab it for free at backtune5.com/mom. All right, prompt number 1. So, what do you do well? So, write down a few things that you do pretty well. Again, think about things you used to do when you were younger. Like, did you used to enter spelling bees? Or did you play chess? Or were you the fastest at doing a Rubik's Cube? Just things that you did when you were younger. Were you crafty? Did you love to make bracelets? Like my daughter, she gets all of these for Christmas. She got so many kits that were like make your own bracelets and jewelry. And I have never really been really just into that. Like I just, when we were younger and we did it, it was cool, but I just never felt very crafty in that way to do like make bracelets and necklaces. But she seems to really like it. And I was like, well, maybe that's something that I can do with her. But think about things that you do really well, that you were good at, good things that you were good at, special talents and skills that you may have, and see if that's where you can start your intellectual wellness journey. Prompt 2, what would you like to learn to do? So this is just a list of things that you've always had maybe a slight interest in. Would you like to learn to crochet or make hats or make candles or to write in a special script? Things like that. Or learn to dance or learn to do a backflip or learn how to swim. And the third prompt is, what creative endeavors from your childhood would you like to get back to? So if there's something that you used to do when you were younger and you just kind of miss it, what are those things and how could you do it? And so that was what tap was for me. I tapped when I was really young. And then as I got older, I did other types of dance still, but I didn't go back to tap. And I was like, oh, I really want to do it. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to start dancing again. And I want to be challenged. I want to do something that I didn't do. So I'm going to do tap. And I really did enjoy it. It was really fun. And I'm happy that I chose it. And I know eventually I will get back to it. I'm just holding space for my daughter to do the things that she is wanting to do right now. And I feel good about that. And I will honestly say that I feel better about it now because I did give myself the time and hold space for myself to do something for me. So there's no type of resentment. Like I feel that I can do these things, not like I am capable of learning to tap dance, but that there is space, there is time. I can make it work in my schedule when I want to, instead of before I started my self-care journey, I felt that I couldn't do things because there were so many limitations. I did not see all of the opportunities that there were for me to reconnect with myself and prioritize my own self-care and really get back to myself because I was so clouded by the overwhelm and the frustration and the resentment that I had just as a new mother. And this is why I do what I do now because so many women feel that cloud, and I am here to be the ray of sunshine to break through those clouds and help you get through to the other side. So that's intellectual wellness. I hope you learned a lot from this episode, and not just this episode, but the entire series. Again, next week, we are going to actually do the work of setting our goals for 2025 and beyond. So make sure you're there. Subscribe to the show. I appreciate your support. Share this episode, share the show, follow me on Instagram, do all the great things, but mostly do something kind for yourself today. I appreciate you so much, and I'll talk to you very soon. Thanks for listening to this episode. I hope you learned at least one thing you can implement into your daily routine. To connect with me, follow at Back to You in 5 on Instagram. If you're feeling generous, share this episode with a mom you know and subscribe to the show. I appreciate your support. Remember, motherhood is a journey, not a destination. Grow through it and enjoy the view.